Blume edit.
The Blume edit.
The Blume edit.
The Blume
The
edit.
Blume edit. The Blume edit.
The Blume edit.
You're listening to The Blume Edit, where we talk all things beauty, business, and being unfiltered. I'm your host, Kia, from Blume Aesthetics. Welcome back to The Blume Edit. I'm Kia from Blume Aesthetics, and today's episode is a ride because we've got someone who's lived a story in front of millions, but whose biggest chapters are still unfolding. Carina Mirabile, widely known from MAFS 2025, is not just a reality TV bride. She's a digital marketing expert, fashion entrepreneur, daughter of a powerhouse family business, and someone who's navigated heartbreak, spotlight, and reinvention. From the infamous moment when her on-screen husband punched the wall over her past to the tensions of being matched with someone she's dated before, we're going deep. Carina, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking, you've had a busy couple days, but you've made it here for us today. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I've been in Perth for a week and go back to Sydney really soon. So yeah, it's good to see everyone, see the family and hang out a bit.
Nice. And finally, we've got some good weather to send you off.
Yes.
Off home.
I've heard it's been
Rubbish.
a bit full on.
Yeah.
A bit full on.
Yeah.
Like winter's lingering around a little bit longer.
It's annoying.
Yeah. But the sun's shining for
it's
me,
nice
which
today.
is good.
Yeah. Well, let's get straight into it and talk MAFS straight up. So you matched with Paul with history, tension, and unresolved energy. How did you feel walking into that knowing his past with you?
Oh, at first I was quite flabbergasted. I was like, no, what's going on? Like, what are the chances? And I was quite adamant when I was going through the whole audition process that I wanted someone that wasn't based in Perth. And, you know, I had a few criterias that I wanted ticked off on the list. And I was just like a little bit underwhelmed at first, and I was a bit shocked. And that's everything that all the viewers saw on TV was so real in the moment. As soon as the wedding happens, that your producer whisks you apart, takes you to one room, and then he was in another room. And my producer, who was along the journey with me from the beginning, to like the lead up of the day, planning the flights, the logistics of everything, and dealing with like the wedding day, she was like, so how was that? I was like, I didn't know what to say because obviously, you know, so much prep and energy and all the cast and crew, you know, the 60 crew members behind the lenses and stuff on that wedding day, the big executives and stuff. I didn't know what to do. So I just like went along with it and I thought that's, the idea behind all of it. And then, we got to that point. I was like, do I get someone else? Because I was a little bit underwhelmed because I had that initial experience with him when we did go on the hike in Perth, and then it just like fizzled out and he low-key ghosted me and like didn't prioritize me in that moment, which he then apologized straight away to my parents when we were sitting at the reception and stuff. He was like, I do need to say something to your parents and that kind of thing. And he went up to them and apologized and just told them the story because no one really knew except for my cousin at the time. And so he made a big ordeal about it, kind of like told the story to my family, and they were like shocked, you know. I thought maybe it was fate because we were brought back together at such a interesting moment in my life where I actually hadn't seen him since that day, the first initial catch up. So I was like, okay, maybe this is fate. And then I was like, I'm just going to surrender and ride the journey.
The producers and stuff like that, they obviously had no idea you already knew him, right? Like you didn't go and name your previous like people that. You've dated. Like that would be weird. Yeah.
No. And you know what's so crazy is that we didn't even have each other on social media. From a production point of view, the casting directors, the producers, the team, it's a big corporation would obviously do their due diligence and just see who you're interested in and who you might follow and, you know, get some ideas to they really did try and match me with my potential husband for the future and for the rest of my life, because they do want marriages to succeed and people to get together randomly. Arranged marriage, essentially, like going back ancient years, like our grandparents got married to the first person they were introduced to. They really did try and do that for us. They had no idea.
Yeah.
And,
Crazy.
we didn't follow each other on social media. There was no way they could have connected us. So, yeah, it was just fate, I think.
Well, you and Paul had one of the most talked about moments. So him punching the wall after you revealed a history with a rapper.
Yeah.
How did that moment feel for you off camera, but also in that instant?
Oh, my gosh, going back to that time, it was almost a year ago now. Everything was off camera that happened because it was the weekend, it was a Sunday, and we were having the best day ever with our friends on the show, Ree and Jeff. And, we were experiencing Sydney. It was a sunny day. We were Sunday drinking and everything was going well until that very moment where we got back to the apartments and he just like his personality just changed. It was like someone I didn't know or someone I was like, I've been getting to know you for the past couple of weeks and then a complete different person. So I was definitely shocked and I was like just not thinking. My body was in fight or flight mode. So I was just really shocked and like shooken up and worried and a bit annoyed as well because I was like, how can you be so dramatic? And I was like, is this guy for real kind of thing? And, we had such a good day. How can you instantly just bypass all of that and all the good times for one little silly comment, especially when Ree and Jeff in the environment, we were all drinking. We were in the Uber. It was great energy. It wasn't like a serious
conversation.
It was all jokes.
Yeah,
it was laughing and, we all getting along. And we even have videos of that day, which is so weird, us in the Uber doing carpool karaoke. And then he just instantly turned into a different person. I was like, what is going on? And how can you get so upset and turn so serious about something that was so not serious? So, yeah, I was a bit devastated because I was in my mind creating and fixating on this perfect relationship that I was going straight through to the end, and post show we were going to move to Sydney. I was creating all these fantasies in my head about my relationship with Paul and what it would look like on the outside world. And we would talk about it. And I was very serious about the situation and him, especially him meeting my parents and my family. And I could see him fit in so perfectly because I do have a very big family and a strong family dynamic. And it can be quite intimidating and scary for a man that I'm dating to come into that world. So, and he was fine with everything, got along with my family and I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit disheartening when that all happened.
And something so significant, like aggression, like you can't just kind of be like, oh, that's a once off. It's a in the moment sort of thing. Like it's something that can kind of linger.
Yeah.
Leave
it was
a bad
like
taste in your mouth.
Yes. And it was, and there were so many other moving parts, the environment, the situation that we were in, essentially dealing with production and not even being in our own home. It was technically an apartment complex, a set. And I was like, why is this happening right now? Like, how can this be? And I was, very disappointed. And, this was just maybe the beginning of what could be, could get worse down the line.
Well, the question we all want to know, who was the rapper?
Oh, oh my gosh. Everyone is saying Drake. And I was like, it definitely wasn't Drake. But you know what? Karina's had her fun in her past life, in her 20s, and lived in America and overseas, and had great experiences that I was very fortunate to be a part of. But yeah, it was Quavo. I don't think I've actually ever said that out loud. There's been a lot of speculation and stuff, but yeah, it was Quavo.
Well, thank you for dropping that on the podcast. So we've heard about the girls' chats being as dramatic as the couples' dinner parties on MAFS. Were there any moments off camera with the girls that we didn't see but you wish made it to air?
I don't think specifically talking like drama-wise, but the best conversations that were had were off camera, but we were mic'd up. And we would leave the apartment complex going to the commitment ceremonies the day after the dinner parties. And we would be with our individual producers, but we would all have to kind of wait and from our apartments, the girls and guys would get separated, and the guys would always go first to where we filmed. I used to call it in North Sydney over the bridge. And then the girls would gradually get put into like groups of 3, and then we would go in a car to the studio. And I was always either with Jackie, Veronica, or Ree. Never with like Afina, Jamie, Beth sometimes. But yeah, Katie at first as well. But we would always just have the best conversations, like in the lift, waiting around with our producers, and then in the car. The cars were the best conversations that us girls would have. But then our producers would be like, guys, shh, you cannot talk about this. Talk about other stuff. Talk about your family. Talk about your friends, like your outside life. Talk about what you're going to do on the weekend.
Because they want to capture that.
They want to capture
the
the chit chats. But we would generally talk about like what we do as a job and like our normal life and stuff, and then our past dating life. It was juicy conversation. So I wish they kind of captured that. Yeah, it was kind of like Real Housewives vibes, like a typical reality TV show of girls getting together and just talking smack about
almost.
gossiping.
Yeah.
So that, for me, I love watching that kind of stuff.
Yeah, nice. And so who was the most different on camera versus real life, do you think?
I would have to say Dave, but in a positive way, in a good way, because, as everyone could see at the dinner parties, there was a side of him that he would be, voicing his opinion, and he's so good at talking and everything, but he's actually a very big, friendly giant. And I think like there were so many parts on the show that showed him being that, but in every way, like he would come and bring the crew and the cast, like all of us, pastries and donuts, and he'll just buy a box of Krispy Kremes and leave them out the front of the apartment foyer and write, "This is for everyone, enjoy." And it was so lovely of him, but he would always like have food and have treats for everyone, or snacks or lollies, and he was very like thoughtful.
Yeah.
So I think again at the dinner parties, him and Jamie were such a power couple in a great way. They balanced each other out. But he's very good at talking. Of course, it's a reality show. You need to have that as part of your personality, and be able to voice your views and opinions about any situation. And he did that, but he also has a really great side of him that's a very like gentle soul.
That would be kind of a scary thing about being on a reality TV show, is the producers could probably choose like a narrative for you. So like if you do have those little tendencies or you are quite vocal, they could follow that path and be like, you're really arrogant, you're not that they did do that for him, but you can definitely see how that happens, where people are like, they portrayed me completely different.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think, production is very accurate on portraying personalities, and I guess they just follow that and they capture the story and that kind of element of a TV show in whether it's a dating one, whether it's a challenge one, whether it's a travel one. They obviously have to portray the story and the storyline. But it's a really interesting one, just seeing all the logistics and how it works and stuff. But again, like being super respectful to everyone around you. And I saw Dave was like, he was so like lining up and waiting for a long period of time while the rest of the moving parts of like the camera operations and the people behind all the technology. I just noticed that he was super, just like funny, jokey, but respectful as well. And I was like, damn, really get along with you, Dave.
So post-show, you announced your podcast called This Is Chaos with someone not even from the show, your hairstylist, you were saying the other day, Jacob. What's the story behind that?
Yes, so... but obviously I'm from Perth and Jacob lives in Sydney. We connected on social media a few years ago. I was there for an event and I really was fond of his work, and I messaged him for him to do my hair, and I tried to book in with him, but it was fully booked. And so I just remembered I had him at the back of my brain, and last minute, like always, Carina style, I was flying over for the hens party, and everything was put together really quickly within 2 weeks, all the logistics, getting flown out, the hen's party, trying to sort out hair and makeup and your outfit. And I just messaged him and I was like, would you happen to be able to do my hair for this event? I didn't tell him anything. I couldn't tell him anything. And he came to my hotel that I was staying at, and I just said it's for TV. And so long story short, he kind of understood the assignment. He then realized what was going on, which I did not disclose because I signed an NDA and a confidentiality agreement, and I did not want to get in trouble by Endemol Shine and Nine. And so he kept it really close to his heart. It took it very seriously, and then he goes, I want to work with you all throughout the show. And I was like, done. And so we just blossomed from there, and we became really good friends, and he's like my best friend. He's Croatian, very similar to my family dynamic. And it's hard living on the other side of Australia. You don't have your family foundation, so he's essentially like my family. And then I think, while the show was airing, we were just creating content and we just threw it out there. Should we do a podcast? And then it got serious. And then, Jacob and I got signed to Nova Affiliators, and we have a production team, and we just talk about, our chaotic lives, everything that we get up to, living in Sydney, dating, serious topics, unhinged, raw, and just don't stop talking. But he's a very talented hairdresser, and he works with like a lot of established influencers. He does Real Housewives of Sydney, so, he loves it. He's very talented.
Probably loves the gossip.
He loves the gossip. But he's, born and raised in Sydney. So the industry is so small. Yeah. Everyone, knows everyone. And he's actually got a new project coming out, which is really exciting, which is launching very soon. So we will be shooting his campaign when I go back to Sydney for that.
Nice. Yeah. Amazing. So you studied broadcast journalism, did acting classes, and have had TV appearances before MAFS. Was TV always part of your dream, or was it the show that sort of was the catalyst to something new?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I've always been a little flamboyant girl, loved being in front of the camera growing up, and I was always the Barbie doll that got dressed up by my older siblings, and we would perform at family events. We always wanted to be the center of attention, essentially, because our family was such a big dynamic growing up, and we would host lots of parties and family functions, and us kids would always perform for them. So I think it was like a stepping stone where I've always loved watching reality TV shows, but I think I didn't go on Married at First Sight to become something bigger than I was before the show. It just gradually happened for me. Like, I didn't apply for it. They messaged me on Instagram, and I always wanted to work in entertainment and the TV world, but I was always behind the camera, and I was like production. I was a stylist. I loved working on set. Like, I just got a big excitement out of that, and I felt very like that was my path kind of thing. And then when the show came my way, it just kind of all blossomed from there. But again, I've always, I went on the show for the right reasons. I did want love. I still want love. I thought I was going to have long-term love, like, what my parents have, or like what some TV personalities now went through from going on a dating show and seeing how, Martha and Michael, like how they've been together for 7 years and they've got a beautiful son, and they met on the show. And, Evelyn and Duncan, like, that's a perfect example of a success story. And I wanted that so badly. But I think everything happens for a reason. And I do love the moving parts of film and television. So it just happened to be me going on a show to get more even involved in this type of world.
On the other end. Yeah. And so your fashion label, Mirab, I said that right?
Mirab, yeah. I'm like Mirab.
How do you balance creative freedom, commercial viability, and staying true to your aesthetic?
I find it very difficult because there is so many outside noise, and you compare a lot in any way, whether it's an individual, as a human, from an outsider point of view, from body to, what you do in your life, to anything, a business. You're always comparing, essentially. But I feel that I just have to be true to myself. And, a lot of people can feel like they're comfortable talking to me, and like I'm a very warming girl, and I just love connecting with people. So I try and do that with what I wear. And that's kind of my philosophy, which is a low-key understatement of inspiring people. And I just want to make people feel good. I want to make people feel happy and positive and motivated, and feel like I want to be an example. Go chase your dreams. If you want to do it, if you want that label, if you want that new career change, if you want to succeed kicking some goals, like health goals, go do it. And I just want to always try and voice that in a positive way. So yeah, going back to my label, I think I just represent myself and what I wear, and I created a label that is similar to that people can feel inspired to wear and comfortable. Biggest thing for me is comfortability. I low-key hate wearing real tight clothes, and I travel a lot, and I wanted to create active wear in a comfortable lifestyle way where you can go travel and you wear these tracksuits or these oversized T-shirts and denim, and you feel comfortable and cute and chic and minimalist. And I wanted my collections to be also timeless. So it's not fast forward fashion. You can have different colors in your wardrobe, but mix and match and have them in your wardrobe for years. They're not going to date, essentially.
How do you protect your identity when so many people know your public narrative, like pushing back against just being the MAFS bride? You've now got your clothing brand, you've got other things going for you. How do you find, that difference?
It is a bit difficult because people are so opinionated and can judge you and voice their views on you through social media. A prime example is I just got some hate yesterday, and I was reading a comment. I worked with the hair salon here in Perth, One Hair Subiaco, and they did my hair when I came here to Perth, and they did a video, and some girl just commented such unnecessary hate. And I was like, and I was in a little, mood of biting back and being like, sorry, what? Like defensive, as you do. And I just bit back, and I was like, how dare you? You don't even know me from a bar of soap. Like, you're judging me, you're voicing like your insecurities or your jealousy. And I normally just cut off the noise, but it does get to me. I'm human. Like I'm not used to all the hate and, the clickbait comments, but I just deal with it, and I kind of go in my shell, and I try and just say to myself, like, this is about them. They're projecting how they feel about themselves in a negative way. I don't know how people have time to do this or even speak that into the world. But yeah, it's not easy because like an example is when I went on the show, I didn't even mention my business. I didn't go on the show to promote my business. I love fashion. I love expensive things. I work hard for it. I like spending money. It's very evident, but I work hard for it. And if you like that as well, and you like spending money, you have to earn the money to spend it. So it's not a catch-22. It's very simple math. And I just get so annoyed when people are like, oh, you spend all of this. Like, there's people that are struggling. I get that. I'm struggling as well. Like, I pay rent. I pay my bills. Like, I have overheads, but I think, like, for me, I do love fashion, so I'm just prioritizing. I don't have children at the moment. When the kids come, I'm going to be prioritizing the kids, So yeah, I didn't talk about my business. I didn't do that to go on a show to promote my business, and I never spoke about it. So yeah, I just kind of kept that to the side. And I think going back to your question, separate the two. Yeah, separate the two.
Being in the public eye a little bit, like, there's certain things that people go for, right? Like, it can be your looks, like attack. It can be your looks. It can be business related things like that. I
Yeah.
know my thing that gets me upset is if someone ever makes comment about my work. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what they say about my face, my voice, anything like that. I'm like, I don't care. I am who I am.
Yeah.
But if someone was to say something negative or going against my work and my business, like that's what really gets to me. So
Yeah.
you might have your little things as well where it's like, you hear people go, oh my God, look at the color of her hair. Or I always used to get, look at her lazy eye, things like that. I don't care. I have a lazy eye. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when people would sort of, make comments on social media about like business and stuff, you're like, no, like I'm going to stand up for myself. Like, it's not true. I work so hard for this. It's what I believe in.
It's just like kind of shut off from the noise and just keep reminding ourselves that they're projecting their negativity onto you because they're not happy or they're unfulfilled or they're not conquering their dream, and anyone can do it. So that's why I am such an advocate to speak positivity out there and inspire people, whether that's my nieces. I've got, so many nieces that are growing up and entering this world, and it's like, it's so cruel, and I can get really deep about it because I'm such a sensitive girl, and I just, I have a big family and I'm so protective of them, and it's like, I want them to not put themselves in a box because that's what society says to do and to go down this avenue. No, like challenge yourself, dream big, try it, give it a go. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. You'll get back on your feet. You can start again, but you'll always have that regret if you're not doing it. Yeah.
Well, you spent significant amounts on outfits, hair, makeup while filming, like you said, and production had approval over it. How did that creative control, tug and pull feel?
It's a really interesting one. At first, I was so grateful. I loved it. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, but then you realize that it gets a bit exhausting because it's nearly every day. I understood that patterns on camera don't work with the camera. There could be a lot of like reflection. You can't wear like brands and logos and that kind of thing, and they want a lot of color because color pops on camera, and I'm like, oh girl, I'm like, I am complete opposite of color. I'm like a neutral girly. But I think some of the girls were great in that aspect. They were so happy to wear color, then that allowed me to wear more neutrals and like the whites and the blacks. But when I did have to wear color, I was like, damn it, because obviously when it was a commitment ceremony and a dinner party, they wanted it to be fair for everyone, all the girls essentially. But yeah, it was fine. Like I made it work. You send a lot of options. There was, that we did have a lot of hours in the day, and yes, we were very restricted with what we could do while we were filming, and it was full long hours, 5 to 6 days a week in the apartments. But if we had to go out and I had to go to the shops, they would let us, and we just had to always communicate with them and keep them in the loop when we were going and when we were coming back. And always sending photos to our house APs that lived in the apartments with us 24/7, and then they would send it to the producers, and then the producers would either approve or say, no, we need some other options. So yeah, you're definitely put out of pocket a lot, but I loved it. I thought it was a challenge. Like, prior working at my family business, at my desk every day, I was online shopping a lot, so it didn't do anything different to me. I was just getting my parcels sent to Sydney instead of Perth. But yeah, it was fun. It was and I conversed. A good experience. Like, also all the girls, like we would send photos to one another and be like, is this what you're wearing? Like, do you have any options? Like, it was fun. It was like playing dress ups every day with the girls.
Yeah, nice. And in times when you were in show prep or emotionally drained, how did beauty or self-care become an anchor for you?
Oh, yeah, drainage. It was a very draining experience, especially as the weeks went on. you think it would get easier, but it was actually getting more difficult mentally and emotionally. I think for me, and talking to the cast members, Ree and I would always have this conversation. Her and Jeff were going so well. Like, you know, they're a success story. They're still together. They live together now post experience. They've been together for like a year and a bit now. We would always converse and message. And even when Paul and I were good at the beginning, we would be like, are you just exhausted? And Ree would say to me, I'm so drained. I don't know what it is. Like, I just feel energy zapped. And, you know, thinking back now, I think it was such an emotional, mentally draining experience. It wasn't like tedious work. It was mental. And you're overthinking everything because, yes, you are getting monitored 24/7, and you go to bed thinking like, for me, I'm an empath, and I'm very like, I want everyone to be good. Like, I love everyone, as bad as that sounds. But that's me. That's Carina. And I don't ever want to hurt people. And maybe I shouldn't have gone on a TV show, because I'm like, I was questioning myself. I was like, why am I even here at this dinner table? Because I don't like confrontation. I love being dramatic. Like, I'm a dramatic girl. I'm over the top, but I'm not into the whole drama and gossip. And I was like, why the fuck am I here? Like, and then when Paul and I we're good. We didn't get much screen time. I didn't give a shit, because I was like, we're together. Like, we're happy. We're making it work. Like, we're in our little love bubble. We don't care for the drama. Like, we're good kind of thing. And we didn't get a lot of screen time. I didn't care. I was like, good. I don't want to be a part of this dinner table. And the anxiety was real when you would get involved in the dinner parties, because like they're coming at you left, right and center. So yeah, it was very draining. But I did, getting back to your question, I did a lot of exercise. That was my health and wellness for my mental, and I would go for really long runs. I would get like an hour, production give me an hour to go to the gym, a time slot, and Paul and I would go to the gym, or I would go do a workout myself, or go for runs and walk and get nature, and then getting a coffee as well. I don't know, like face masks. We at the complex, we had like a pool and a sauna. We would also do that. Yeah.
Nice. Self-care.
Self-care, like really exercise. Like, oh my God, like right now I'm a different person, but we exercise so much because it helped us mentally.
And so people often refer to you as Australia's Kim K. Amazing. Is she an inspiration to you, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. She absolutely was. And I will say it loud and proud, the whole family dynamic, her mother, Kim herself, because when you come from a European ethnic family growing up in Australia, we are so grateful, and we have been able to bring our culture to Australia, and, you know, diversity and everything. It's been a whirlwind, and I'm so grateful. My parents are grateful for my grandparents coming to Australia and leaving that part of the world to provide for their family and build a better life for their family. But it was very difficult growing up being European and being ethnic, completely different to my peers in school, and it really affected me. It made me essentially, not want to be my heritage, and I was always against it. And you know, I grew up where all the magazines were full of Victoria's Secret models, or you know, the skinniest of skinniest, really tall, slim, no curves, beautiful women, and that's all my eyes really saw, and I thought that I had to be that way, and I didn't like who I was, and me being completely opposite, short, tanned, pear-shaped, curvy. Yeah, I think it wasn't until the Kardashians and their TV show and them kind of really taking control of people's perceptions and really putting it out there that curvy's becoming a thing, and it's a womanly body, and everyone's shaped differently, and them, you know, making it so normal, and you know, enlightening us in this new realm. I don't fully agree with all the procedures they've had done to sustain their bodies, and I think they're essentially way too skinny now. They look better curvy, but enhancements and that kind of thing, each to their own. I'm not against it, but I wouldn't probably do as much as they've done. But I think the family dynamic and everything I'm very inspired by, and I feel like I can be myself and comfortable with it. And yes, I have a similar body frame. I do get that a lot, but I don't know.
It's a compliment. I don't think,
it's a compliment.
Yeah.
A lot of people see it in a negative way, but I don't technically try to look like her. I just have.
You just do.
And I just dress like I dress with the trends and the times and the color palettes and stuff.
No, it suits you.
Yeah.
Cool. So what beauty rituals, affirmations or practices help you remain centered when you're not feeling your best?
I think exercising is the number one for me, and making sure if I feel like I'm slacking or I'm demotivated, I have to keep reminding myself that, push through, Carina, get up, go to the gym. You'll feel so much better after. Go for your run. You'll feel 100 times better and feel rewarded. So I think also just having like staying in and not always having to be out or say no. Like as I'm getting older, I'm definitely saying no a lot of the time, and just like being very precious of my energy and my bubble. And I love being on the couch and putting on Netflix. Like I low-key love it. I love analyzing movies. I love watching TV shows and just switching the brain off. And I think, just prioritizing that, which will then make me feel better the next day, and like waking up really early, getting up, going for my morning run and coffee or park and that kind of thing. But I do love, I'm a girly girl. Like I do love getting a facial once a month, and that makes me feel good. Or even just getting my eyebrows threaded, which is $16, like $18. It doesn't cost a lot, but it makes me feel a lot better after, just a little bit of that. And I love being a foodie. That makes me so happy. So giving back and just enjoying trying different cafes and knowing that that's going to make me feel better.
Well, being in Sydney, you're in the right place for that.
Yes, there's
cafes,
a lot of that. I'm like slowly ticking off the restaurants, and thanks to TikTok, there's so many new places opening up, and trying them all.
So you've said dating now feels genderless to me, and you're not rushing. How do you heal knowing your love life is also so public? And is there anyone in Carina's love life at the moment?
I'm navigating all of that right now. That's something I'm definitely going through post MAFS experiment. I'm definitely trying to figure that one out. I find, that it's a little bit more difficult now because I don't know if guys' intentions are pure or if they're excited or, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm definitely still healing. I think I'm just giving myself that time of, again, just being in my own bubble and still being the social Carina that I always have been. I love talking to people, getting to know people. I love, going out and socializing, but I think I'm a bit more reserved, and I'm definitely navigating like who to share my energy with the opposite sex. And I'm at that age now where I'm 32, like I can't just be fluffing around. Like it takes a lot to have my time and my energy, so I'm very protective of that, and I'd rather just stay in by myself. And that shows that I've grown so much since my even a few years ago, and I love myself and have worked on myself, that I'm okay being by myself. I think at the moment, I wasn't dating. I did go to America. I dabbled in dating, and now I'm very open to it. But again, I am very protective with like who I let in, because I'm wanting to date seriously now. Like I'm ready to find my husband because I want love. And I definitely went on the show for love, and I think post MAFS experience, my life has changed so much, and I want to enjoy it with someone.
And you deserve it.
We all deserve love. We all love love. So I want to seriously date.
All right, well, we're going to do a quick little game now of this or that. Are you ready?
Fun.
Okay.
Let's go.
So this one's kind of obvious because you were just saying it. Night out or night in?
Ooh, night in.
Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Drake.
Life
no brainer.
Life before MAFS or after MAFS?
Oh my gosh. I think life after MAFS, but there's a but. I want to experience this with someone
Yeah.
because it is a whirlwind of an experience and so many opportunities are coming my way. I want to have my partner to do this with and all the experiences and grow with them and build with them.
Being the villain or being forgotten?
Being forgotten. I don't, first of all, I don't even know what villain means. I have to always remind myself. But being forgotten, yeah.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Carina, thank you so much for joining me on the Blume Edit, for the laughs, the honesty, and for keeping it real, as always. So from MAFS moments to building a business and navigating the chaos of life after the show, you've given us a lot to think about and a few little juicy bits just to rewatch. This is the Blume Edit. Until next time. This is the Blume Edit. Unfiltered, unscripted, and unapologetic. Subscribe now and tune in weekly.